Have you ever felt like your heart is a stormy sea, tossed about by waves of worry, anger, and regret? Do you long for a calm harbor, a place of unshakable peace? If so, you're not alone. Many of us spend our lives searching for that quiet center, that secret to a peaceful heart. Today, I want to share a story with you, a timeless tale about a wise old man and a troubled young seeker that might just hold the key you've been looking for. In a small, sun-drenched village nestled between rolling green hills lived a young man named Kyle. On the outside, Kyle had everything one could wish for: health, friends, and a comfortable life. Yet, inside, his heart was in constant turmoil. A harsh word from a neighbor would ruin his day. A small failure would send him into a spiral of self-doubt. The memory of past mistakes haunted his nights, and the fear of an uncertain future clouded his days. He felt like a leaf in the wind, completely at the mercy of his own turbulent emotions. One day, Kale heard whispers of an old Zen master who lived atop the highest hill overlooking the village. They said he possessed a profound and lasting peace, a serenity that nothing could disturb. Desperate for an answer, Kale decided to seek him out. The climb was long and arduous, a journey that mirrored the struggle within his own soul. Finally, exhausted and breathless, he arrived at a simple, small hut. There, sitting under the shade of an ancient cherry blossom tree, was the master, a gentle-looking man with eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of 1,000 lifetimes. "Master," Kale began, his voice trembling slightly, "I have come seeking your wisdom. My heart is a battlefield. Anger, fear, and sadness are constantly at war within me. I have no peace. Please teach me your secret. How can I calm the storm inside my heart?" The old master smiled kindly, a smile that seemed to reach his very eyes. He didn't speak. Instead, he simply stood up, picked up a clear glass, and gestured for Kale to follow him to a nearby well. The master drew a bucket of crystal clear water and carefully filled the glass to the brim. Then, he held it out to Kale. "What do you see?" the master asked. Kale looked at the glass, puzzled. "I see a glass of water, master." The master nodded. Then, he took a small spoonful of dirt from the ground and stirred it into the glass. The clear water immediately turned murky and brown. "And now," he asked, "would you drink this?" "Of course not," Kale replied, wrinkling his nose. "It's dirty and impure." The master said nothing. He simply placed the glass on a flat stone in the sun and returned to his spot under the cherry tree. He invited Kale to sit with him. Kale, confused and a little frustrated, sat down, his eyes constantly darting back to the murky glass of water. He had come all this way for a profound secret, and all he got was a confusing riddle about dirty water. They sat in silence for what felt like an eternity. The sun climbed higher in the sky, birds chirped in the branches above, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. Kale's mind raced. What did it mean? Was the master testing his patience? Was this some kind of trick? His familiar feelings of frustration and anxiety began to bubble up again. He wanted to shout, to demand an answer. But he held his tongue, stealing glances at the master, who sat perfectly still, his breathing slow and even, a picture of absolute tranquility. Slowly, as the minutes turned into what felt like hours, something began to shift within Kyle. The silence of the mountaintop, the master's calm presence, the rhythmic sound of his own breathing. It all began to soothe him. His racing thoughts started to slow down. He stopped trying to figure out the puzzle and simply began to be present, to observe. He looked back at the glass of water. To his surprise, it was no longer murky. The dirt, undisturbed, had slowly and naturally settled to the bottom, leaving the water at the top perfectly clear and sparkling in the sunlight once again. It was as clear as when it was first drawn from the well. A wave of understanding washed over Kyle. He turned to the master, his eyes wide with realization. The master, seeing the change in Kyle's expression, finally broke the silence. His voice was soft, like the rustling leaves. "You see, Kale," he said, "your heart is like this glass of water. The worries, the anger, the regrets, they are like the dirt. When you are troubled, you frantically try to stir things up, to fight the feelings, to force them away. You analyze them, you resist them, you get angry at them. But all this stirring only makes the water murkier. You cannot see clearly, and you cannot find peace. He pointed to the glass. The secret is not to fight the dirt. The secret is to let it be, to give it space, to simply allow things to settle on their own. The water didn't do anything to become clear. It simply became still. And in that stillness, the impurities naturally separated and settled to the bottom. Kale looked from the clear water to the serene face of the master. It was so simple, yet so profound. All his life, he had been fighting his own feelings, believing that if he just struggled hard enough, he could conquer them. He had been stirring the dirt, making his own heart a muddy mess. Your thoughts and emotions are not you, the master continued gently. They are visitors, like clouds passing in the sky. You don't have to cling to them or battle them. Just observe them, acknowledge them. Ah, there is anger. Hello, fear. And then let them pass. Don't stir the water. Create a space of stillness within you through quiet observation, through mindful breathing, through simply being present in this moment. In that stillness, your heart, just like this water, will find its own clarity. The peace you seek is not something you must create or win in a battle. It is your natural state. You just have to stop disturbing it. Tears welled up in Kale's eyes, not of sadness, but of immense relief and gratitude. He bowed deeply to the master. He hadn't been given a magic spell or a complex doctrine. He had been given a simple, powerful truth. Peace wasn't an external destination to be reached. It was an internal state to be allowed. From that day on, Kyle's life transformed. He still felt anger. He still felt fear. The dirt of life still found its way into his glass. But now, he knew what to do. When a negative feeling arose, he wouldn't fight it. He would take a deep breath, acknowledge its presence, and then let it be. He would imagine the dirt in his heart slowly settling, and he would focus on the stillness, the clear water that was always there underneath the temporary turmoil. His heart became less of a battlefield and more of a quiet, deep lake, reflecting the beauty of the world around him. The story of Kale and the Master reminds us that our quest for a peaceful heart isn't about eliminating our problems or negative emotions. It's about changing our relationship with them. It's about learning to be still, to allow the mud to settle, and to trust in our own innate capacity for clarity and peace. So the next time you feel the storms gathering in your heart, remember the glass of water. Don't stir. Don't fight. Just be still. Take a moment to breathe, to simply observe, without judgment. Allow the dirt to settle. You might be surprised to discover that the clear, peaceful water you've been searching for has been there all along, waiting patiently for you to become still enough to see it. Thank you so much for joining me for this story today. I hope it brought a little bit of peace and clarity to your day. If you found this story helpful, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content to inspire and uplift your spirit. Until next time, be well and be still.